in the field of the cloud now, the different trends we have is more about the management. Because if you look at in the last few years, we had many different services, many different operations, or many different options to allow you to move workloads to environments like Amazon Web Services. Now it's all about managing those environments. That's why if you look at the news we announced in our annual event, which was in November in 2014 in Las Vegas, reInvent, we announced a lot of services on, for example, key management infrastructure, management operations for containers, which is Amazon ECS. We're going to talk a lot about it today. CIOs will definitely want to move to the cloud for multiple reasons, but the most important ones is perhaps the innovation and the agility that it gives to them. Of course, a lot of CIOs will talk about Amazon Web Services because they say, yes, with AWS, I managed to have cost reductions, better control of my budget because I only pay for what I need and only pay for what I'm using. That's the good value, the most well-known value for the cloud, right? But now, the other value that you see a lot is the innovation because all the companies now, they need to change and to adapt depending on how their market is evolving, right? And it's very deeply tied to how the IT operations are done today, right? And if you cannot change these IT operations, if it's too rigid, like the way we did it traditionally, that is, if you look at many companies and you ask them how much time do you need to have additional hardware, additional infrastructure or servers, typically they respond you about something like 10 weeks, sometimes 18 weeks, right? And if you go to AWS, this is resources you can have in a matter of minutes. And if you combine this with what I said earlier, that is the low cost and you only pay for what you use, basically it makes the cost of infrastructure completely inexistent for companies. That is, you're reducing the cost of innovation and then you're reducing the risk. Right? And because there's no financial risk to test your innovations, you can innovate more. Because if you want to innovate, you have to reduce the risk of failure. And this is basically one of the strongest benefits that the CIOs are looking for when they move to AWS. In the Israeli market, and especially here in Israel, I think Amazon Web Services is already well known. If you look at all the startups that are here in Israel, a lot of them are already using Amazon Web Services, or many of them already been extremely successful with Amazon Web Services. All the events we did here year after year. This year it was in September, and we had, for example, not only startups like big companies like Bank Hapoalim. Talking about startups, we had Magisto who came and showed how they've been using Amazon Web Services. So startups in Israel are pretty well aware of all those benefits, and they are already using Amazon Web Services a lot. Now enterprises and traditional enterprises like a Bank Hapoalim are also seeing those benefits from themselves. So I'll say that the Israeli market is extremely aware of the benefits of cloud computing and is heavily moving towards using AWS.